And we welcome you back into the Alex Strouf Show presented by Cream City Central. And we're about to have some fun because it's impossible not to with the guy we've got on the phone right now. It's Tom Grossi. He's the host of Packast, 94,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's just about the size of Green Bay as a whole, if you put it into perspective. So he's got everybody behind him. He joins us now. Tom, how are you, my friend? Thanks for jumping on with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate you having me on. Yeah, you know what? I didn't even think about that. I guess at this point, like, you could fill Lambeau. Okay, good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, so eventually we're going to have you do stand-up in Lambeau Field like Kenny Chesney's putting on a show. It's going to be Tom Grossi doing a stand-up routine.
100%. And I think it'll be really similar to what you're going to see this season. No fans in Lambeau. So, yeah, that'd be my draw. So, yeah, no, I appreciate the confidence that you have in me.
Yeah, you know, I'm not BSing at all. I'm sure you can tell. You know, at least I'd show up, so you'd have more than one person.
They're just like, hey, buddy, what's going on? It's just like just Lambeau's just completely empty except for one person. I tell a joke, you sure? It just echoes throughout, the south end zone. Yeah, that'd be because you don't want to spend too much money on tickets, right? Like we're not in front row here. Like you'd be like south end zone. You found them on Craigslist for like $15, and then you talk the guy down to 10. That's what I'm thinking my value is at this point. So. Yeah, I think I'm definitely worth a $10 retail ticket.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think I'd more. This is more my style, Tom. I think I'd go to like a shady scalper outside the Rest Center across the street from Lambeau, and he'd probably just give them to me if nobody's showing up. But I'd talk him down to maybe 8. I don't know if I'd pay 10, maybe 8.
Yeah, you know what? That's right because you don't. $10 that's a whole bill right there. If you can just be like, hey, throw some quarters together and be like, you're not selling them to anybody else. Here's 50 cents. Go buy a gumball. That kind of thing. I think you could really work it out that way too.
I like your style. So talk to me about what this COVID pandemic-esque time has been like for you. I mean, you are a comedian, obviously a content creator. What's going on with you the last 4 months?
Yeah, I mean, COVID has been ravaging through the world / country. But things have never been better for the podcast.
Yeah.
It's crazy because, a couple years ago, when the Packers were terrible, my views shot up because it was all Vikings fans and then Bears fans after they started doing well.
Yeah.
Coming on, just kind of rub the salt in, and then they just never left. And then with this, it's just everybody's home. So I think even the people that are wow, I cannot tolerate his voice for more than 5 minutes. They're there's nothing else on. So, they really can't go anywhere. So I feel like I've just trapped a lot of people in this space for the past 4 months. So the podcast has been doing really, really well.
Yeah, I see that. 23 hours ago, what do we got? 19,000 on the 2021 free agent running back class that we were just talking about right before you hopped on. So yeah, you're doing really well. It's great to see you doing big things and making the most of this really, really weird time.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. So I was at a leave replacement for teaching up until the draft. It was literally the day of the draft was my last day, and with everything crazy going on, it was what's going to happen this season? Because right now, we've been putting out content at least 5 days a week since August of 2019. We're still going, mid-July. So it's going to be interesting to see how much longer I can do that, especially if there's no football, because that's when we're going to have to start getting real creative and start talking about cricket.
Yeah. What do you know about cricket? That was actually on my question list.
I think they have it's not a bat, but it's a rectangular stick.
It looks like a spanking paddle almost, Tom. It looks like a spanking paddle.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So that's I read it. I think one time some guy made a catch and they're like, that's a great catch. And I was like, okay, I believe them. So that's as much as I know about the game cricket. And you know what? I'm looking forward to really immersing myself in the sport and becoming a diehard cricketer.
Tom Grossi, my guest. I can't keep a damn straight face for, oh, geez. So I guess, yeah, on that cricket note, Tom, what have you been watching, right? We had Tiger King way back in March, but what has been filling the sports void for you the last 4 months?
It's funny. Netflix has it's gotten me through some stuff. I actually never even saw Tiger King. I know I'm behind. I'm
Really?
sorry. Yeah,
That's
no,
your
I never
homework
did it.
assignment.
Yeah, exactly. I just saw that it was like a tiger, and that's pretty close to a lion, so I just stayed away from it. But for the kind of what's been getting me through, The Last of Us 2, played that game, enjoyed that. Haven't played a video game in I don't even know how long. So that was the first one in a while. But honestly, the show has kind of kept me sane because it has kept me on a schedule. I wake up, do what I have to do, spend hours researching, recording, editing, etc., putting it out there. And at that point, it's good because I get to sink as much time as I want to in it. So that's really kind of what kept me sane, and as well kind of kept me away from my wife, who has appreciated that, because if we were 4 months joined at the hip, there probably would be some exoduses from the house. So that was it definitely has saved my marriage and my career.
That's great to hear, especially the former, the marriage saving. Yeah, that's good. We don't want you. If you had a divorce, Tom, how different would your content be? Would you just be depressed and mopey instead of your upbeat self?
Here's the thing. It would just be, I would just not eat and just literally just be 24/7, Packast. Even if there's no football, I would be mid-December and I'd be like, you know what, guys, I went outside and felt a blade of grass today, and, do a 20-minute episode on that blade of grass. Maybe start a cooking show. Maybe unboxing, I hear, is pretty popular. I can get back into Yu-Gi-Oh cards or something and do pack openings. I'm sure that's still a thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could get super creative. It would just get really weird and just random outbursts of tears. So I think that would be really compelling content.
I agree with you, and I would watch it. Maybe that would boost your ratings even more if you were just. No, I'm just kidding. Let's not go down that path.
That's the contingency plan. So we got a if the marriage works out folder, and then we got the if the marriage doesn't work out folder. So either way, we're going full speed ahead.
Oh man, you were terrific, Tom Grossi, my guest. Tell me which fan base whose nerves you get on the most. Is it the Bears?
Oh, that's a good question.
Thank you.
So which fan base hates me the most?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, you know what? It's interesting because I have found over the years, I have a really big Bears and Vikings fan base.
Yeah.
And I find that when my content gets posted on their subreddit, Bears fans are, I feel a little less welcoming, but I've gotten some of the nicest compliments ever from Vikings fans. I'm I hate your team. But I feel it's sometimes even my own fan base. There's a good, I would say a solid amount of Packers fans that are just I hate this person because they were why does this person have so many followers? Which I ask of myself every day.
Yeah.
But if anything, I feel maybe the Seahawks, maybe.
Okay.
Just because that is the team that I hate the most, and I constantly bring that up how much I hate them.
So I guess while we're on that topic, Russell Wilson, a 97 in Madden. I don't know if you're a Madden player or not, Tom, but he's about what did Rodgers come in? I think he was an 87, so 10 overall points more than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, listen, I will say that Russell Wilson could have won MVP last year. The guy played his ass off, and I will say I like Russell Wilson. He's the bright spot on that team for me. The rest of them just go away, but I like Russell Wilson. He does amazing things for the community, visits kids in the hospital, etc. But yeah, I think he's well deserving of that. I think Rodgers at an 89 is snubbed a little bit, but it's all well and good because we beat them last year in the playoffs. So at the end of the day, do the Madden rankings really matter when we beat your team? No,
You're absolutely spot on. I was at that game, Tom. I was drunk as hell, and I cried at the end of it as snow started falling. It was one of the best moments of my life, I think.
So, you know what? On that note, okay, so I'm assuming you're in the Wisconsin-ish area.
Yes,
right?
I grew up in Green Bay. I live in Stevens Point now, which is right in the middle of the state.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. So, what was the temperature approximately when you were at that game?
I think it fell to I don't know if it broke zero. The wind chill did, of course. I want to say it was around
it was cold as balls.
Yeah, it was cold as balls. It was 15 degrees maybe.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I couldn't feel my feet for a day after that.
Oh yeah, see that's the thing. You got to stand on cardboard. That's it, because that concrete just
Oh
right,
yeah,
right up through you.
yeah.
So here's my question for you. All that being said, were you intoxicated in the parking lot, or was it a process throughout the game?
So, okay, I don't remember what time the game was at exactly. I think it was like 6 o'clock. I think I woke up at 8 a.m. and started drinking then, and then I continued to drink at the games. I mean, it didn't stop. And then I went to the after party, of course, when we could still go to bars, packed bars, that is. So it was a process. I love how this interview is flipped to you asking me questions. That's good.
100%, because I have a follow-up question. So
yes, go ahead. No, as much as you want.
Okay. So years ago, the 2016 wild card with the Giants and the Packers. So I was at that game, the good old Cobb Hail Mary.
Yep.
And I made the mistake. So I flew in and I got like my flight was at 2 o'clock in the morning, flew into Milwaukee, drove up there, and then went to the game. And I made the mistake after halftime, after that Hail Mary. I was like, oh man, I got to celebrate. I got to go get a beer, right? As one does.
Correct.
So I shelled out, like $12 for like a Miller Lite. And I have to say, it was one of the worst beer experiences I ever had. Not because of the taste or anything. It's Miller Lite, whatever.
The price.
It was so freaking cold that it literally was like icicles going down my esophagus, and I felt it going down my chest. So to explain that and to get to my question, how in the hell do, like, at some point, like, do you just have to be drunk before you get to the game to not feel that pain? And that was my rookie mistake because I was driving like an idiot.
Yeah.
Or like, is there a way to kind of circumvent the Mr. Freeze in my esophagus?
Wow, that is an elaborate question, Tom. Okay, so being a Wisconsinite, yes, I will. Being a Wisconsinite, I will say I am a pretty darn good drinker. Now, is this a New York thing that maybe you weren't used to drinking beer in the cold? I mean, it gets cold in New York, so I don't know.
Actually, it's the opposite. So, like, here's the thing. I went to school up in New Paltz, which is like upstate-ish New York.
Okay.
And that's what we would do. We would drink our tails off, and then we would walk to the bars without jackets, like usually in short sleeves because no one wants to lose their jacket at the bar. And we would walk to the bars, and it was fine, like, and you got it. But I feel like the thing I did then is I pre-gamed beforehand, so I was already on my way off the cliff. And I didn't do that with Green Bay, and I was wondering if that was my fatal flaw. So
did you not tailgate much? I mean, but you're still outside for tailgating, so I feel like it would still be very cold.
I didn't tailgate at all. No,
okay, well that's your first mistake. That's your first mistake. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because I want to know for future reference, maybe when we're ever able to, like, go out in public again,
right?
To kind of redeem myself a bit.
No, I get it, man. I get it. Yeah, when you're back here, you give me a call and I'll teach you how to drink like a Wisconsinite. How's that sound?
Okay, that sounds great. I have never had a spotted cow.
Oh my goodness, Tom.
Trust me, I know. I need to rectify it. I mean, like, so listen, like, I'm a hot mess. Like, I'm allergic to cheese, right? Like,
what is going on here?
Like, 100%. Yeah, it's the ultimate irony of my life. But it was either I became a Cowboys fan or a Giants fan or a Jets fan or a Packers fan.
Don't do any of that.
I obviously chose at least one thing correctly. Blame my father. Listen, because he gave me terrible genes. Not my fault.
Yep. Fair.
I'm saying.
All right, Tom, we're running out of time, but I want you to plug the channel, plug your stand-up, and everything you got going on.
I feel like we learned a lot in this interview.
We have. It's been really, really fun. See, I call these conversations because that's exactly what you and I just had.
That's it. That's it. Check out Tom Grossi everywhere. It's on the YouTube. You try to find Packast on all the podcast sites. Yeah, you can follow me, but you don't have to. It's a free country. You do what you gotta do. But if you do, hey.
I'm going to tell you this much before I hang up on you. You are welcome back anytime because I haven't laughed that hard in a couple days. So I really appreciate you taking 15 minutes, Tom.
Absolutely, Alex. I appreciate you having me.
That's Tom Grossi, creator of Packast. He's hilarious on every level. Oh my goodness. I need to take we need to go to commercials so I can go pee because he made me laugh so hard.